am Barryon Franks, OLQ member and lead for Target 4, the Arts Career Focus Up Close and Personal. Omicron Lambda Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is implementing international program Target 4, the Arts with enthusiasm while exemplifying excellence through sustainable service. The Artsy Girls of OLQ have accepted our charge to showcase talent in the visual and performing arts, celebrate the contributions of African American artists, and highlight the artists and artworks of the Harlem Renaissance and Black arts movement. Welcome to the Arts on a Sunday afternoon, as we focus on successful individuals who have chosen careers in the arts field. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our Career Focus Up Close and Personal, featuring musician Cameron Michael Clark. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guests for this afternoon. Cameron Michael Clark is a multi-instrumentalist trumpet player from New Orleans, Louisiana. Cameron is an alum of the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, NOCA, and is currently a senior majoring in jazz studies at Loyola University of New Orleans. He has played in an array of different festivals and venues, such as Snug Harbor and the Jazz and Heritage Festival. Although his passion and the root of his artistry is in the trumpet, Cameron also loves working in visual arts and theater. It is my pleasure to introduce our special guest for today, Cameron Michael Clark. Thank you. So hello, Mr. Cameron Clark. Thank you for taking your time out to be interviewed by Target 4, the Arts Career Focus Up Close and Personal, part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Omicron Lambda Omega chapter. I just have a few questions for you. So what is a musician?
What is a musician? That's that's interesting. You can get a broad array of definitions. What I kind of define a musician as is somebody that um, is an artist in the musical soundscape, if that means like you work with like painting and creating scenes through music and through sound, if that makes sense.
Thank you for that. Thank you. What would you say, what educational preparation is required to be a musician?
Ooh, that's actually a really, really great question. Because like I feel like in like our modern society, we have this notion of like, oh, you have to be classically trained to kind of mean that you're qualified. But I really kind of disagree. I feel like musical education comes in different forms depending on like what region of the world you're in, or just like where you grew up, right? Because there are some people who might have the wealth to like send them to like the greatest like Catholic, music conservatories, and there's people that, grow up on the streets playing brass band music, so who's to say that, oh, since you went to a conservatory, you're any better of a musician than somebody who like learned from the streets. So I don't think there's one definitive way to necessarily go about educating yourself in music. You just have to kind of like start with the basics like anything, like with drawing, circles for the heads, your major and your minor scales, you just kind of branch out from there.
So how or why did you select music to be your profession?
I feel like, in my opinion, music was just the thing that kind of helped me to best express myself in the artistic form. Because like I grew up doing like theater and or theater. I know some people hate it when you say theater. I did drawing for a little bit, but I don't know. It was just something special about the trumpet and just being able to kind of like voice your opinions through the horn. Make statements of whether like I'm sad or like I'm angry or I'm happy. All of that can be expressed like through the horn if you take a much. Oh my God, take the time to sit there and dedicate time to practice to work on your craft.
And so I know this has probably been changed a bit because of COVID, but what is a typical day like as a musician?
Oh, I can give you the rundown, no problem. So like my day starts out like I'll wake up and I'll do like my normal like warm up routine, go through all of that stuff. Then I'll work on a little bit of like sight reading, or I might work on like just composition, things like that. And then like since I'm still in school, like I have like classes or whatever, but mostly it's just practicing and composing and writing because that's all we can really do. There's not a whole lot of venues open, so it's not a whole lot of like playing opportunities. So it's mostly just like personal, just shit, just working out, mechanics or working out technique to make you better for when gigs do pop up. So then you can be like, boom, look at what I learned.
And just as you touched a little bit on how the setting has been changed, how have you adapted, or the music community in general adapted to the changes due to COVID?
Mm. Well, I know we've definitely been using I- let's scratch that. I know I've definitely been using a lot more digital means to like get paid or like just put out content, instead of like people coming to your gig and being like, here's $5 for a tip. You have like Venmo, so you're like, here's my Venmo, go like donate. So instead of doing like gigs, you have like live streams and you just boom, boop, put your Cash App, put your Venmo in the bio. Then people send you money. I know recently I did a gig with Trumpet Mafia. And one way we've definitely adopted with that is like instead of having a bunch of people in an enclosed small space, like we all play outside, right? So that way, like the crowd is like 50, like 60 feet back, so like they're protected. You know what I mean? Like everybody else, like trumpets like spread out like 6 to like 10 feet apart, so we're all protected, and it's outside. So if there is a chance of like there being like aerosols or like being dispersed into the air, rather than being circulated into like a building in an AC, like keeping people at risk of getting the virus. So that's just two ways I think that we've adapted to this new digital COVID world.
Yeah, I know a lot of careers have been impacted by the things going on right now. And speaking of challenges, what is the most challenging thing about your career?
Ooh. um I think the most challenging part about the career at this point is just um this is hard because it's not like one thing, it's a bunch of different, but I would just say like the dedication, you know what I mean? Because like sometimes it can be kind of discouraging because you're like, oh well, my music doesn't sound like this person's, or this person works less hard than me, and they have like a bigger song, so it's like kind of like keeping that humble mentality to be like, okay, like there's different paths for artistry, and you got to kind of navigate it and find your own, rather than being like, oh, I gotta have this many followers, I gotta have this many streams, I gotta do this or that, or like, how come I work so hard and my shit don't blow up? It's a process. So I think that's the hardest thing about being a musician, is just kind of trusting in the process.
And on the other side of that, what would be the most rewarding thing?
Easily, like the crowd reactions whenever like you do something cool. Like I remember I played an encore. I think I was a Blues Traveler for Jazz Fest, and just the energy that a crowd will give you, like when they cheer after you like play a lick or you play a high note or something like that. It's that conversation that you not only have with the people in the band but the audience itself, knowing that you're moving them, knowing that you're creating something that is having a profound impact on them at that moment. That is the most fulfilling feeling in all my life, honestly. And I honestly can't wait till it comes back.
Yeah, I know everyone's ready for things to get back in person, but of
I
course we
miss I miss people.
can't. So, are there any resources that you could or would like to share for those who are interested in pursuing a career as a musician?
Actually, yes, I do. There is a summer camp that I went to that now I'm kind of like, plugging. It's called Second Line Arts Collective, and they're currently open and registering. There's like scholarships. So if anybody's listening, go apply, get you somebody, go to this amazing camp. You can learn about digital editing, like recording studio, like soloing, there's like combo work, and you can learn like, New Orleans jazz music. So that's one thing I recommend. Um, but even in like everybody's young, we have YouTube nowadays. You can just pretty much literally type in music theory on like YouTube, and like you can get literally like a year's worth of like stuff that'll pop up of people teaching you. So it's more a matter of like you going out and finding the resources yourself and doing it. Because the resources are there, you know what I mean? They've always been there. It's a matter of like, do you have the drive to go get it? Do you have the drive to actively seek it out beyond even like what your school, might be telling you, because they might not be giving you the whole story. So sometimes you got to go out and just do your own research, do your own endeavors into your art, and that's when you kind of like unlock some stuff, like, oh wow, I didn't think about it like that before. Like, wow, my teacher said this, but like, I discovered this on my own. It's a little easier, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or we'll definitely share the information you just said about the applications. And would you like to share your website or your social media for our viewers to look at your work?
Yeah, definitely. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Cam Michael Clark, all one word. Yeah, currently working on my website, so I'll I'll text that to you. But yeah, just Instagram and Twitter right now, Cam Michael Clark, and I think on Facebook I'm just Cam Clark. Sounds like a superhero name.
All right, well, we'll definitely link that in the video. And is there anything else you would like to share before we say goodbye to our viewers?
Hmm. Trust in the artistic process. That my one thing I've learned over my 21 years on this planet is I know it can have its ups and downs, but just trust in the artistic process and you should be good.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Clark. And again, we will drop his information in the video for you to follow. And thank you again for taking your time.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.